Welcome, mathematicians, to another episode with Mr. Murphy. And today, we're going to be doing one of my favorite math concepts that you can think about, and that is comparing numbers. Let's get started with our objective. It's always important to know what we will be learning in each lesson. Today, we will learn how to compare numbers using greater than and less than signs. Boom! These are what those signs look like. There's a greater sign, a less than sign, and an equal to. Today we'll be focusing on the greater and less than. You might be saying to yourself, Mr. Murphy, I've seen these before. I've seen them in math 1,000 times. Well, today we're going to teach you how to use those. So, one of my favorite things to do when comparing numbers is take those greater than and less than signs and change them into hungry, hungry alligators. Now, hungry, hungry alligators want to eat the largest number they possibly can. So, when we are comparing two numbers such as 4 and 7, they want to go for the larger of those two numbers. 7 happens to be 3 larger than 4. It is the larger of those two numbers. So we want to make sure that our hungry, hungry alligator is set up to eat that 7. So the mouth is facing that 7. Let's read this comparison. Just like when we read a book, in math, we always make sure that we read from left to right. So I would start with the 4. 4 is less than 7. Let's take a look at another problem. Again, remember, our hungry, hungry alligators love to eat the larger of the two numbers. So we want to make sure that the mouth is facing that direction. Let's take a look at these two numbers, 9 and 3. 9 is 6 larger than 3. So it is the larger of the two numbers. We need to make sure that the mouth of our alligator is facing towards the 9. Let's try reading this problem. 9 is greater than 3. Let's take a look at one more. But you know what? Let's get a little bit more challenging with this one. Can we compare 497 and 483? You guessed it, folks. We can. But there's a little added step that I like to do first to make sure I don't mess anything up. That step is I like to take the two numbers and put them directly over each other. Now when doing this, I make sure that I line up my place values. So my hundreds place are directly over the top of each other, my tens and my ones. The reason I do this is when we use larger numbers, it can get a little trickier. So I want to make sure that I double check before I just do. We always start with the largest place value, which is the hundreds place. So we're going to look at the 4 and the 4. Those happen to be equal to each other, so that doesn't really tell me which part is greater. Let's look at the tens place. We have a 9 and an 8. Well, that definitely tells me something. That 9 lets me know that 497 is greater than 483. So, the mouth of our hungry, hungry alligator should face 497. Let's read this one. 497 is greater than 483. So, today, guys, we learned how to compare numbers using greater than and less than signs. But why is this important to know? Let's make sure we know that before we leave. There are two great reasons that we need. First, knowing how to compare numbers can help us understand place value concepts even more. I can look at two numbers and start to figure out which one is greater than and less than each other. Secondly, it helps us in everyday life. Next time you're at that store and you're deciding whether to take the Gatorade or the Diet Coke, you might want to take a look at that price. And it's going to be really important that you can compare which one costs more than the other. All right, guys, thanks for coming. I want you to go out and try your best to compare numbers. I know you can do it.